talked about the alcohol research. By that time, the ethics committees had made the sort of research I was doing basically impossible, and so I had to switch.
Interesting.
Yeah, well,
let's pick up on that. I mean, I like to go place I hadn't planned, but I suspect that impacted on some of the things you're talking about later on.
Yeah, I did. I hate ethics committees. They're terrible.
And I understand why. Why don't you elaborate on it a little bit? Because
well, first of all, they'll come back and say, well, why don't you do this experiment this way? It's like, do your own goddamn experiment. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because that's what I'm interested in. You want to do a different experiment, get your PhD, set up your lab, do the goddamn experiment, and don't come in and fix mine. Who the hell are you anyways? That just irritated me to death. And then, so irritating. Because I love doing it, and scientists, you gotta leave them alone because they're weird people. It's like they got these strange obsessions. Don't interfere with that.
Well, that's, I mean, one of the things that sort of made you at least more famous publicly was the response to being told what to say or do in some ways, which clearly pushes
I don't like that.
Well, it clearly pushes your button. Zero doubt about it. But I can see the origin in the ethics community.
Well, here's what happened. At McGill, I was studying. We had a very specific population we were studying. They're very, very hard to find these people. Non-alcoholic men, 18 to 23. So they had to drink. They couldn't be alcoholic, but they had to drink. Yeah. They had to have an alcoholic father, an alcoholic paternal grandfather, and an alcoholic paternal first or second degree relative in addition. Very hard to find. So we were studying the psychophysiological responses of people males who had a genetic predisposition to alcoholism. Very specific population. We couldn't study women because if your mother was alcoholic, you might have fetal alcohol syndrome. And so that muddies the waters too much. Okay. And so, when I went to Harvard to try to do this research, by that time the NIH, so what would happen, we bring these guys into the lab and we give them 3 shots of alcohol in 20 minutes and get their blood alcohol level up to about 0.10, above legal intoxication. And that's where the interesting psychophysiological responses manifested themselves. Lower doses, which almost all other labs used, didn't produce that effect. So then I went down to Harvard, NIAAA had got all ethical by that point, and they wouldn't let our research subjects leave until their blood alcohol level was at 0.02. We used to leave them go at 0.04 or 0.06, something like that. And usually we'd make sure they got a taxi home and all that. We were sensible. But that meant that these guys had to sober up in the lab awake for like 10 hours. Well, no one was going to do that. It was torturous. And then we had to include half women. It's like, well, we can't. Yeah. And first of all, male alcoholism is primarily a male disorder, although not entirely, and the reasons for female alcoholism are probably different. And so I couldn't give the doses, I couldn't use the research population. And basically what happened is every single research psychologist stopped studying the response to alcohol because it became impossible. And, how ethical is that? It's just alcoholism, right? It's like the 5th leading cause of death or some damn thing. It's not important.
Yeah.
So end of that. So then I just couldn't do it. So
and that's something we both